I was recently asked to put together a new dollhouse kit, the Vivian dollhouse. I found very little on this dollhouse on the website, so I'm assuming it's a fairly new design. Can't remember the name of the company. This was put together for the Little Dollhouse Company in Toronto. I was able to put it together fairly easily because I was actually fixing one of the same design. The instructions that came with it are not 100% clear, especially when you go to lay down the second floor. But in this case, you can see I've fitted together the base pieces. It does have two solid pieces on the base. So once these were test fitted, they were glued together, and then the top base was glued on top of that. So it's a fairly heavy construction. Once again, it's laser cut, so it is pretty accurate. Assembling the stair pieces was fairly easy. The side pieces each have two separate pieces. So these risers fit into place, and then the treads fit in on top of that. Now, I'm not quite sure why they made the top stair when it is flush with the base, so I actually ended up filling it in and just sanding it smooth. So pretty much made the top stair disappear. Now if you wanted to lower your steps, I guess that would work. Uh, After assembling the base, test fitted the walls and the floors. In this case, the floor with the cut out for the stairs is the wrong way. The instructions I could not see told you how to put this floor down. It fits both ways. Luckily, I did have the house I was repairing, so I did notice the error, and I flipped the floor over the other way before gluing, luckily. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of hassle to fix. Assembling the porch roof, I was going to put a light in the porch roof, so I did pre-drill before assembling the top part of the roof, added the wire, and then after that glued the top portion of the roof. I used the columns to make sure the roof sat flush, so it was not too high or too low. After that, I assembled the mansard roof. The side pieces in the front were a little tricky, but with a bit of fiddling, they did fit together. At that which point I actually filled in the edges where the joints are because the shingles are paper thin, so you do want to make sure it's smooth. Now here you'll see the windows and doors for the exterior along with the roof trim. These windows are a very tight fit. They're very nicely made, but they are very tight fit. So if you do want to paint them, it is a bit of a hassle. They are fairly stiff. Now you'll also see the kit with the stairs. Unfortunately, I lost the pictures assembling them, but they actually went together very easy. So it should be no problem assembling. This is what you get out of the kit: the walls and the doors, windows and stairs. You'll see in the next pic I actually added on the mansard the lower walls. I just find it finishes nicer and easier to decorate that way. I kind of wish they added windows on the third floor. There are none, don't know why. You could probably buy something fairly decent to work for this house. I don't actually know if they sell separate windows. And also then the paint color, we decided to go with a dark purple. Actually turned out fairly nice. Inside was entirely primed. I did this after, since I was going to be finishing the interior as well. Otherwise I would have primed it prior to assembly. You'll see the exterior walls painted purple. This probably would have been better done painted before sticking it to the base. If you know what colors you want, then it's probably a good idea to do that beforehand. Now I cut the floors, test fitted them in. Most of them have wood floorings, except for the bathroom on the third floor and the kitchen on the ground floor. I did cut channels on the back side of the walls to fit the wires in. I use the circuit kit. I just use the two pieces. I don't actually use the whole kit. I guess if you're tape wiring, you probably would. But these are the only two pieces that I used for us putting my lights together. It's all I ever really use out of these kits. Sorry, bad picture, but the wires are wrapped around the two nails. And if you have a good soldering gun, you could probably solder them in place. I didn't. Once it was hammered into place on the bottom of the ceiling, I test the light to make sure they work before sealing in the wires. Now on the floor here, you'll see the channels cut for the wire for the ceiling lights to pass through to the front, to the back actually. Now these channels that I did on the back of the walls, if you have a small table saw, it probably would be easier to cut prior to assembly if you know you're going to hide the wires inside the house like this. The ceiling canopies would be covered by the floors above. Here we started with the shingling. Like I said, paper thin, but overall they go on fairly easy. I used contact cement. It worked fairly well. This is the porch roof completed. I think overall it probably took me a couple of hours to finish the porch and the mansard roof. So as you can see, okay, 2.5 hours. It actually doesn't look too bad. If they had given me extra shingles, I probably would have finished the first row properly as well, but this is the way they had told you to put it in. The floors here, stained dark walnut. I like dark wood floors. Wallpaper in all rooms. Trim on the outside has been painted and installed. Now on the back, you'll see I made molding to cover the wires and actually to make the floors look a little more thicker, sturdier, and kind of finishes it off a little bit better. The stairs were stained and varnished and glued into place. Once again, these stairs did go together fairly easy, so it's not too bad. All the canopies have been installed, wall plugs have been installed, and a final cleanup. Overall, not a bad kit. I would probably recommend it for a child or even an adult just getting into it. It's a nice house. I would just add windows to the mansard roof. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.